Don't engage alone. We do this together.
Yeah!
Yeah!
We got it! We got it!
New 52 booklet.
Somebody clip this.
Welcome to Justice League Rewatch. I'm Jared. I'm here with Nick from the Phoenix Press. What's up, brother?
Doom!
Yeah, it's return of the Speaking Doomsday, which...
What?
Yeah. Okay, I gotta say this right off the bat. I freaking hate talking Doomsday.
What?
It is the dumbest thing in the entire world. And I'm like, what?
Wait, what's dumber? Bloodbending or talking Doomsday?
Bloodbending. Nothing is dumber than bloodbending. But in terms of like this show, because I'm like, Doomsday's supposed to be like this force of nature, not supposed to talk. That was actually the intention of the character. And when you have him talk, and not only talk, it'd be one thing if he talked like the Hulk, but he talks very articulately. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That is the stupidest thing in the world. This is why when people say, oh, these are the best versions of the characters. Are they though?
Really?
But so this episode, so we're talking about the Doomsday Sanction. And first off, we're introduced to Amanda Waller, who, by the way, Jay Heat does a fantastic impression of. But going off to this, we get the awesome that awesome interaction between her and Batman, where she threatens to expose Batman, and Batman goes, "Okay, go ahead. I'm sure people would love to hear what you have behind."
My favorite moment is like after she leaves, you can kind of see like that's when she allows like the fear. Like she was scared crapless.
Batman made Amanda Waller scared.
But the important thing is she didn't show it to his face. He got to give her some points.
I'm sure Batman saw it. I'm sure he has like rear view mirrors in the cowl.
Because he's Batman.
I'm sure he saw it in the mirror. I'm sure he saw it, and he's probably like having a bat smile as he walks out.
Alfred, launch the bat fear detector pointed at Amanda Waller's house.
That I re-engineered from Scarecrow. But anyway, so then
because of Batman.
We have this actually cool scene. So there's a volcano going off, but the head seven of the Justice League are having like a meeting to discuss like Waller and Argus, but they intersperse it with Waller's own like council.
That's a really good shot because you notice they have like kind of like this road. Like that must have been a pain in the butt to animate.
Yeah, but it's just so well done because it's pretty much like the two armies are prepping to go to war against each other. I really
a lot of war
that.
Going on this week on both shows.
Yeah, except except this one had more logical consistencies. But anyway, so then one of the scientists who's talking about like controlling animals, about he name drops Kirk Langstrom. So I hope you noticed that. He was in the first episode of Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah, and that's not the first time we'll see splicing in this timeline.
Yes, exactly. But so he lets out Doomsday. Actually, first he explains Doomsday's origin, which it's not the comics origin, but it makes sense because it's like you were taken by a piece of like Superman's DNA. And I would love if they actually told us where they got the DNA from, like at what battle, something.
Jared, did that remind you of anything?
What?
Taking a Kryptonian's DNA to make Doomsday?
Oh yeah, it's hashtag Zack Snyder to take something and makes it better.
You didn't make that connection?
Zack Snyder is improving on Bruce Timm's work.
Oh my god, I can't believe you didn't make that connection, man.
Okay, moving on, but
you're literally wearing a Snyder shirt.
I know. Then the guy goes, okay, so you were created to like kill Superman. You were hurt, but it wasn't Superman that hurt you. It was Amanda Waller. Then he thinks, I'm gonna let Doomsday out, and that doesn't go well for him.
I guess you could say he effed around and found out.
I guess you could say he Doomsday had a splitting personality.
I guess you could say the guy had quite the pounding headache afterwards.
Yes, he'll never be the head of a major corporation.
He really did lose his head. He really did lose his head, didn't he?
By the way, fun fact: Michael Jai White voices Doomsday in this episode.
I wondered why the voice sounded so
Spawn good. Voices Doomsday, baby.
Now that's a crossover.
No one saw coming. Hey McFarlane, can we get a Spawn? Hey McFarlane, can we get a Spawn Doomsday action figure? That would be cool. But anyway,
and don't send it to Dan Jurgens.
Yeah, exactly. Doomsday escapes, surprising no one, and ends up on this volcano that the Justice League also happened to be at because he's hunting Superman. And then we start getting some more SuperWonder hints in this entire episode, which I'm like, okay, as a man of high taste, I was watching this and I'm like, yes, I know what I'm using for the thumbnail. But so
why did you literally did the Joker laugh? I can't believe you did that.
Yes, exactly. Nah, see, I was trying to go for more of a Jared Leto. But anyway, what Superman is doing is he's like digging trenches in the volcano, like relieve pressure. Then Doomsday shows up and they start a fight. And I love where Wonder Woman is like, do you need some help? And Superman's like, no, keep the evacuation going.
And you can hear him getting pounded.
Yes, exactly. And then I love how like then Amanda Waller goes to the general and is like, okay, you have to fix this because Doomsday could kill all of us. Then the general does. Okay, I have to. By the way, J.K. Simmons voices General Ealing. I had to bring that up. Eiling, whatever. But so the general has the most government response ever. Let's launch a nuke.
A kryptonite lace nuke.
No, but not only that. That's their first option in Avengers. So I'm like, you guys suck.
I see the council has made a decision.
And since it's a stupid ass decision, I've decided to ignore it. And then Batman does the most Batman thing. He takes a javelin and then goes to I thought he was going to try and like ram the nuke, but then when he does, he magnetizes it to the jet, has the jet go away, and then just ejects.
So I guess someone did learn their lesson because they fought him. They caught him because he can't fly at all.
At all? Yes, I was hoping you were doing that. That's awesome. But the Superman Doomsday fight I loved. I thought it was really cool. Them like getting punched around in the volcano. What do you think about that, Nick?
Yeah, I liked how Doomsday kind of learned his lesson. Like, he just kept going for the eye. Like,
yeah, and you notice they did take something from Superman lore. When Superman tried to go heat vision and he goes, ha ha ha, you can't kill me like that again.
Yeah, they reinforce his forehead.
For those of you that don't know, he has a super forehead now. For those of you that don't know, the way Doomsday works, that if he's killed, he will return and he'll be invulnerable to what killed him previously. So essentially, eventually, if you keep killing him, Doomsday will become invulnerable to everything.
Yeah, he's basically kind of an organic Amazo.
Kind of, only he's less vulnerable. That like Amazo is more like is easier to destroy than Doomsday.
I don't know. Amazo is pretty amazing.
Okay.
Jared's look on his face.
But again, I love the whole because again, this is the second time they did the Death of Superman like idea, and I'm like, was Dan Jurgens somehow involved in this episode? Was the One Trick Pony somehow involved in this episode?
So they invited, so we got Dan Jurgens here for the writer's room, and Dan Jurgens like, you know what we could do, guys? And everyone just rolled their eyes.
They're like,
Doomsday.
No, you know what it is? It's like It's like the story of when they first decided to kill Superman, and the one guy goes, "Let's just kill him." By the way, here's why the episode is well written. Dwayne McDuffie.
You can always count on something good with him.
Episodes, and he had a freaking solid Justice League. Dwayne McDuffie. R.I.P. Sir. We salute you. Truly, if there was a comic book, if there is a comic book Mount Rushmore, he's on there.
Indeed.
But yeah, and again, I love the action in this. I also love where like eventually Wonder Woman's like, "Screw it, I'm gonna go save Superman." And then so after Doomsday falls in the lava, she it looks like Superman is just in this cool pose. He's like, and then Wonder Woman just picks him up.
And then as they're flying away, Superman looks up and says, "You know, this is not my this isn't what I it's not my idea of a date."
Okay. But
he says that to Wonder Woman as they're flying off.
Yeah,
Come on, I'm giving you stuff here. Come on.
Exactly. My one issue with this is like, so they throw Doomsday into the volcano. How did they get? I guess they fished him out because he was like stuck in the rock when he's like in front of the Justice League. And again, he still talks. I'm like, shut up, Doomsday! Stop speaking. That is the stupid. Whose idea was that?
If you were Superman, the first thing you'd laser is his voice box.
No, Flash, can you vibrate your hands and take out his vocal cords?
And Flash would be like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, exactly. Now, the other thing I want to mention for this episode is what's kind of cool is they basically hinted at a subplot that's going to go for like this season of they're harkening back to the Justice Lords because this whole "can we trust the Justice League" is going to be brought up multiple times. It's kind of like how like in JL they had like what's going on with Hawkgirl kind of subplot. This is the subplot.
Yeah, and I really like Batman's position totally makes sense because he's the one team he's the one person on the team who can't fly at all.
Like at all. Yeah, I love that. And yeah, this is kind of like this whole like idea is kind of similar to like Tower of Babel / Omac. Kind of, in that was like the general idea. You didn't know if you could trust the metahumans, although it would have been kind of cool to see Justice League Unlimited, the Omac project.
Oh dear God!
I kind of wish they had done that because then you could have Susan Eisenberg's Wonder Woman actually do something besides save Superman.
Also, I'm sorry, I got to say this: Omac was very misused in Blue Beetle. I'm sorry, they should like, It's like doing a Kitty Pryde movie and having Apocalypse be the villain.
Yeah, and the thing about it, it wasn't even the Omac from the comics. It was a suit, and I'm like, do you know what Omac actually is?
Isn't Omac basically the DC equivalent of Ultron?
What had happened was after. I believe. Okay, so in Identity Crisis,
or is that Brother Eye? Or is that Brother Eye is Ultron?
It's linked to Brother Eye. What had happened is that after Identity Crisis, Batman found out that the Justice League had mind whammied him. So he's like, I can't trust these people anymore because because it turns out that what the Justice League was doing is they were wiping the minds of criminals and turning them into like peaceful, productive members of society. So he found out and they mind whammied him, and even Flash is like, you don't do that to Batman. But so Batman finds out and he creates Brother Eye, which is a satellite that's intended to surveil every metahuman. Maxwell Lord hacks it and takes over and creates the Omacs, which are these sort of like kind of like Ultron, where if they touch you, you become an Omac. So it's much cooler. That's why when like the Omac was like in the movie when they first introduced the Omac, I was like, oh, are they going to do that? No.
Yeah, it's basically like some sort of like Iron Man kind of project.
But here's the thing: it's not even. It's not that much linked to Blue Beetle. but it's most linked to Ted Kord.
Yeah, I'm like,
What?
I will say, I don't mind that they basically made Ted Kord kind of like a Batman type figure, like with
No, that's
gadgets.
cool
That's
because
fine.
he kind of is.
Yeah, Okay, sure.
I like that. That's fine because and the way they had him like away kind of makes it so Jaime's not going to be overshadowed. But the thing about it again is that that's my big problem with a lot of the latest DCEU movies. And I know we're off topic, but screw it. Is that they introduce fun concepts that would work for these characters, but then they don't do the actual concept. I'm like,
yeah.
Are you when I saw what the Omac thing was, at first I had like comic book fan brains hearing, "Oh, Omac, they mentioned Omac." And then when I saw it a couple of times, I was like, "What?"
If I were to say, I feel like if they did an abridged version of was it Young Justice seasons 2 or 3 that had like the Secret Invasion of the Scarabs and Blue Beetle?
I think it was 3.
Where like kind of like the Thanagarian thing, where like the Blue Beetle is like the one that goes away and like
that would be better. That would be better.
It's like the one Blue Beetle that like kind of thing like that. Honestly, would have made for a good movie.
That would have worked a whole lot better. You can make it like they had been capturing scarabs and putting them on the soldiers. That's how you get the Omac suits. But no,
you kind of mix that with like the Venom movie. Like Venom, where
we may have to do an Under Two Capes episode. We fixed Blue Beetle. That would actually be really fun. Yeah, yes. We may do that. But anyway, but back to this again. So it's doing the whole arc. That's this season's arc. They're going to play into it. The question has a couple of really funny moments in this season talking about that, and we'll like see more like stories about it. What they could have done, I feel like it's a wasted opportunity with the Batman thing because this is basically the only time Batman ever mentions the Justice League possibly going overboard. And I wish that they did an episode where like maybe they sort of adapt Tower of Babel, or we see Batman coming up with like contingency plans.
But he'd never work with Amanda Waller. He never would.
No, he never would. But I'm just saying maybe he does his own thing because it bothers me watching this episode. It bothers me that this is the only time that this never comes up again in terms of from Batman. Because I'm like, at this point, Batman would totally develop contingency plans.
I will say, when it comes to the question, I am looking forward to a certain tribute.
Yeah, he volunteers as tribute. He gets really hungry and plays a lot of games.
No, when the question does a tribute to another character.
Yeah, we'll see when we get. Then you can point it out, and where he starts dating a certain purple suited heroine.
I love it. It's in the comics too, like that.
It's in the comics, so it's like, yep, I'm totally fine with that. And they go on a double date with a screamer and an archer.
You're threading the line, buddy.
I was threading the line, and then I added archer because I'm like, that makes it better. But in terms of like how I rate this episode, because of the Doomsday speaking, I'm gonna take off 8 point. But besides that, 9 out of 10. That's it for me.
So this is an episode where we're in agreement. I too give it a 9 out of 10. It's a good episode, like good solid episode, definitely above average, but I tend to grade a little harsher. So.
I would have given it an 8, but it gets an extra point for SuperWonder, so that's pretty much it.
There's two more things we gotta talk about.
Yeah, go ahead.
That ending scene where in their hospital, the way that Superman and Wonder Woman walk in.
Yes. And then can we talk about how ominous as hell that scene was where Batman's watching the TV and there's Lex Luthor in front of the American flag?
I love how they just cut off the music. You can kind of hear just like the fans from the room going, and like this, like it's like, oh wow.
I also love, by the way, the Flash going, hey, they're like, what's to keep us from turning into the Justice Lords? Me. All you got to do is protect me at all costs.
I mean, that is a very Flash thing to say. So
it's true, and it's kind of true because they didn't have a Flash. That's what kind of inspired that. But Yeah, so that's where I'm gonna leave it. This was a pretty solid episode. I definitely enjoyed it. Bear in mind, again, I wanted to give Doomsday some duct tape.
So we got some housekeeping we got to do before we exit.
Real quick, I just want to point out what next week's episode is going to be.
Next week?
Oh, yeah. But let me put it this way. I'm going to point out what the next episode is going to be because we will be taking a bit of a break. But I just want to point out what the episode is going to be. I'll give you a hint. So what are we? Some type of Suicide Squad?
Oh, Task Force X.
Yes, the Task Force X episode. So since it's the holidays, Nick and I have decided, and this goes the same for Avatar Rewatch, we're going to take the next week off. So at least with me, the first episode will be January 2nd.
Yeah, because we record these episodes Sunday night. So basically, if we were to record the episodes, we would be recording them on Christmas Eve. And Comics Watch record on Monday. We would be recording that on Christmas Day. So for my end, we're not doing Comics Watch or Avatar just because it's Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. And I think, Jared agrees with this. Those are 2 days I think we could take off.
Yeah, we're going to take that, and we'll probably take the whole week off, at least from Comics League's perspective, just so I can, hang out with the family and stuff, and you guys can hang out with the fam, whatever you guys want to do. But the only thing that will be coming out on the 25th is SuperWonder Legacy, because Britt and I record that early, so I'm like, okay, you know what, I'll just put that out. But it's going to be kind of like what I did with Thanksgiving. So if you are one of the people that only shows up for Justice League Rewatch, we will see you in 2024. Happy New Year. And remember, the one advice I could always give you, Amazons and Kryptonians go together like peanut butter and jelly.